Good afternoon. We are here today to provide you with the council recap from Monday night. We had a special meeting. Monday was the 16th, and then last night we had a Watauga Economic Development Corporation board meeting, so we'll wrap up with that meeting. But Mayor, I know that you started the meeting off on Monday night discussing user fees, and included in user fees are water and sewer rates.
Yep. We had a presentation by Calvin Cole of Waterworks. And pretty much what it just gave us direction or told us what we need to do for direction going forward in the future. Mr. Cole joined us by phone, but we had the presentation there. Now the proposed changes or recommendations will come back to the council at a later date, so we will have opportunity for citizen input for that item.
Yeah, so all of the user fees will return to the council on September 13th.
Is it 13th? Okay.
Yes, sir, September 13th.
Okay, so we did have one person that came to the meeting that wanted to speak, but because the policy does not allow public comment or public testimony for presentations, but it will be coming back to council and citizens will have the opportunity. So as I said, we had no public testimony, no public comment. Our action item was a approval of a joint interlocal agreement for road repairs. And had a little bit of conversation on that. I believe Mayor Pro Tem Neal had a couple of questions.
He stated that he did a considerable amount of research on the bond seal, is what they call it, program, and the representative from the company that does it for the city of Hurst, which is who the interlocal was through,
Yes.
was present as well to answer some of Mr. Neal's questions.
Yep, and all indications are that this is a better road repair than we've been previously using, which will save money in the long run. And pretty much that was it. That was one of our shortest meetings, I think, probably in history.
It's pretty short.
Yeah, we adjourned at 6:16, so it was extremely short. Then, as you say, we went into Tuesday night. We had the Watauga Economic Development Corporation. Dollar General, we recognize them for their 30th year in the city of Watauga. And then
That's
we had
the Dollar General, Mayor, on Watauga Road.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, on Watauga Road. Then we had a report from retail coach on business opportunities that we're looking at. You want to make some comments on that, please?
Sure. So retail coach contracts with the city of Watauga, in particular, actually, the Watauga Economic Development Corporation. They perform new business attraction services for the corporation, which, as you all know, benefits the efforts of the corporation, benefit the city of Watauga. They have a number of companies that they are speaking with and attempting to recruit to the city. One includes McAllister's Deli. They're looking for a location for them. They mentioned that they'd like to be on an end cap and have the ability for more of like drive-through pickup and not your typical drive-through order like you see at a McDonald's or Wendy's or a place like that. They're also looking for a second location for Smoothie King that would provide drive-through operation opportunities for them. Blaze Pizza was another one that they mentioned was looking at Watauga. They also mentioned Scooter's Coffee, looking at locations in Watauga. So they have a lot of activity right now. They did also mention that Alta's still on hold for right now, but their expectation is that will pick back up. Their interest will pick back up as the economy continues to improve. It seems like the big news of the night, though, was that retailers as well as the individual conference holders are becoming more and more comfortable with moving on with operations as we knew it pre-COVID. So they're making the necessary adjustments to ensure safety of the public as best they can, and making those adjustments so that it doesn't have the tremendous impact on their operations and or the conference attendance as it had when COVID first hit. So it just seems like, Mayor, that a lot of people are getting, I don't want to use the word necessarily used to COVID, but they are learning to adapt to COVID and finding workarounds, so to speak, so that we can continue on with life.
Okay. Yeah, there's, as you said, a lot of potential out there that they're working on. No Wiener Schnitzel yet.
Yeah, they did. That was not one of the names they mentioned last night.
But there is, Charles Parker was who represented
Yes.
Retail Coach the other night, and he mentioned the Retail Live that's going to be going on in Austin the 2nd and 3rd of September.
Correct.
I'll be attending that, and that just alludes to what you said about we're moving forward, adapting, if you will, to the COVID. But a lot of good things out there if things come together. One problem we do have that I don't think the residents really understand is some of the businesses wanting to move here, we have issues with the landlords of getting those things finalized. We have some locations around that are owned, the ground lease, the building lease are all separate, and those are running into issues. And the McAllisters, they were all set to move forward, but somebody jumped on that building first. So
yeah, the market is definitely hot.
Yep.
Right now, and has been for many months now. So
just so everybody knows, we're working on it. I think several board members had some good recommendations and direction for a Retail Coach. We did our financial report after that. That's pretty much it. Action items, we amended our business advertising policy, which was, no pun intended, minor changes. And
they were pretty minor changes.
yeah, just cost and application. Second item was we approved the minutes. Then we revised the business anniversary policy. Do you want to hit on that?
Yeah, sure. So it was a pretty minor revision to that policy as well, Mayor, and it was simply to give staff a document that they could utilize in determining tenure for a business, because we've had some businesses, as you can imagine, that change ownership, or they change name and ownership, or they change their name, ownership, and location within the city. And so that policy speaks to and gives the staff the needed direction in order to determine what that business's tenure is within the city.
Yes, I know you've just done a tremendous amount of improvement to our list and how accurate it is. I know that as you've mentioned before, yourself, myself, Chief Parker, and Chief Fannin do anniversary visits every month, and that has been an issue here, getting those to line up the way they should. So I commend you on everything you've done for that. Let's see, and the last thing was a resolution for amending the business retention project to add funding for the installation and display of another of our variable signs. Explain that?
Yes, so they call them CEVMS signs, which
That's
stands
what I
for
couldn't think
Changeable
of the word.
Electronic Variable Messaging Signs. And we have two currently located on Watauga Road, one on the east end and one on the west end. And one of those signs is double-sided and the other single-sided. But the purpose of those signs is to allow our local businesses to advertise on those signs to promote their business, which relates back to the advertising policy that you were talking about earlier. So that's what we go by to determine how much they will be charged to advertise on those signs. And so the project always was intended to consist of 3 signs, but we had difficulty identifying a site for that third sign. We've looked at numerous locations, we being myself and Paul Hackelman and Chief Parker and Chief Fannin have all provided input on where they thought that third and final sign would best be suited. And then in April, the strategic planning session, the options were discussed with the council and the board in that joint meeting, and the consensus was that we would put it on Hightower near the entrance to where the splash pad is and where the PD is located. So it'll be, I'm not exactly sure of the exact location, but I know Paul has that all set, and he'll be working with Intech Signs to get that installed. So before they can actually move forward with the installation, though, the matter has to go to the City Council on the 23rd, which is Monday, for them to also agree to amend that grant agreement, which will add that third sign.
And we do have, the fourth sign is over at the rec center.
That is correct, yeah, it's not part of the.
WEDC.
Yeah, but it is over at the rec center. And ultimately, Mayor, once the signs are all installed and operational, the EDC will then dedicate those signs to the city, so they will become property of the city, but the EDC will retain responsibility for the operation of the signs, not the one at the rec center, just the three that are for businesses, as well as the advertising program that they are offering.
And the reason the WEDC will give the signs to the city is because the signs are located on the right-of-way owned by the city and legal technicalities.
There are some legal technicalities associated with that, that is correct, sir.
Okay. So just so everybody knows, we didn't just buy the signs and give them away for no reason.
That's right.
All right, then we moved into executive session. This has been one of the longest executive sessions we've had with the WEDC. Let's see, item 1 was purchase, exchange, lease of value property at the corner of Layla Gray Lane and Watauga Road. We took no action on that, but we're going to investigate further into what the possibilities are there. Item 3 was seek legal advice from general counsel to deliberate to purchase, exchange, lease, or value of property at 6200 Watauga Road, which everybody knows as the Brooks property. And again, we're taking no action on that, and we'll continue to gather information and may do something down the road. The one item where we did take action was, I'll just read the technical part. Government Code 551.071.74 to seek legal advice from general counsel to deliver upon the duties of the WEDC director. And that again is just another legal technicality thing. Do you want to explain what we did and why we did that?
Yes, so although the board already was aware that I had tendered my resignation to the council at the end of June, I also was listed as the registered agent for the corporation. And the requirement under the law is that if there's a change in registered agent, so I resigned the registered agent position for the corporation. So if there's a change or a resignation, the board is required to take action and then appoint an individual as the registered agent, because under the law you have to have, the corporation has to have a registered agent. And so all that's filed through the Secretary of State's office. And so the board just simply had to make that selection last night as to who the new registered agent for the corporation would be. And they actually decided that it would be the president of the corporation. So you get another hat to wear of registered agent and the same level of pay though, unfortunately, sorry. So all those documents, sir, were completed this morning. It's Form 401 is what they call it. And so those were all completed and submitted electronically today, and then the original copies were mailed to the Secretary of State's office. Okay. So.
And then that was really it. That was that summed up that meeting. Some of the discussions we had on the properties were very good. We learned a lot of things. We had the legal counsel there, and I learned a couple of things. That pretty much wraps it up. But before we go, I do want to hit on a couple of things real quick. I need people for the board. I've submitted my recommendations, reappointments for the boards, and a few new appointments, but we do still have some vacancies. I'll pitch again for getting citizens to come to the meetings, council meetings. As of 1 September, the ability to write in and have your comments read into the record goes away as per the governor. And then again, I'll mention the rental assistance program that Tarrant County has. You can apply at https://getrenthelp.com or 817-850-7940. And I know we keep mentioning COVID. It's like we're never going to quit mentioning it, but there are a lot of people out there that still need rental assistance help. And just want them to know that that's available out there, and if you need help, please apply for it. And with that, last night was your last WEDC meeting with us. That's three resignations you've given me, and I didn't want to accept any of them. but I don't have much of a choice. And as I've mentioned before, we wish you well in your future endeavors.
I appreciate it.
Anything you'd like to say as we,
Nope. I just hope everybody has a great day.
all right, have a good day, everybody.
All right.